we've got some people around, and we are live. So, but I don't know because again, this is only the second time. I don't see anywhere where it says how many people are watching. I know when you're watching a stream, it'll show you, right?
I think you have to open another window on YouTube to see that.
And then just look at what is going on, and then
look at your channel on YouTube.
Right. Okay. Well, there's a couple of people watching. At least it says there's 2 watching. So, hello, whoever is watching.
So let's see here if it's working on my end.
Yeah. Bear with us while we get our act together a little bit here. Well, Harry's got his act together. It's more me than anything. So. I've been on plenty of streams, but I haven't run a bunch. Hey, Vinyl, French, how are you? So we have at least one, and he's a good guy, so that's good. You guys have met before, I think. French Vinyl Addict, I believe you guys know each other. Harry, you're on lots of
Let's see.
streams, right?
Hi, I'm not sure without seeing who it is.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so for those that are here, and again, I'm not sure exactly how many are watching, but there's a couple anyway, and there's one for sure. So we'll kind of get started. Welcome everyone that is here. The concept of the show, if this happens to be, it's going well, thank you. The concept of the show, if this happens to be your first time here, is we're going to talk about some concerts that we've been to. The first one was a couple of weeks ago. I was supposed to be on last week, but my little side hustle in retirement is that I deliver flowers. And with Valentine's Day, it was a little crazy, even on the day before. So I had to drive up to Saskatoon, get a bunch of flowers, bring them all back, and have them ready to go for the next day. So I didn't know for sure that I would be here, and I didn't want to promise I would be and then not be. So that's why we missed last week. Oh, I see where you can see now. Actually, up in the top in StreamYard, there's a little eye, and it shows 2. So there's FVA. There's
so you can answer the question then, where have all the flowers gone?
Where have all the flowers gone? They all got delivered last Wednesday. Surprisingly, now, I mean, we're not the only game in town, obviously, but it was not as busy as it was last year. So I don't know if less love was in the air, or maybe just people ordered from a different place, or everybody decided to go with chocolate instead of flowers. But so. Anyway, where was I going? Oh yeah, I was explaining why we're here. We're going to talk about concerts that we've seen last week, or 2 weeks ago, pardon me. Alex from Beer and Vinyl and Rob from Northern Revolutions were on, and we talked about our first concerts. This time and from now on, I'm just going to kind of leave it open to whoever would like to come on and join me, like Harry has. And thank you very much, Harry from Harry's Music Room, everybody.
Thanks for asking.
I'm gonna leave it up to whomever wants to come on to just pick a show that they've been to, and we're going to talk about it. So I've got some prizes to give away. I know it's not the same as, because we're all here for physical media, but I find this worked the first time, and it's a way to kind of give back a little bit. So this is a download code from a brand new album that I just bought last week at a show that I was at. So I know it's not the same, but
but
I'm trying. I'm trying anyway. So with that said, again, thank you everybody for being here. We're up to 5 now, Harry, so we can officially start. Not that we
everybody, whoever's here, say hello in the chat just so I can see who's here.
So we know who's all around. Exactly. So
I'm only looking at StreamYard, so I'm not seeing what the YouTube feed looks like.
Yeah, and I'm just seeing FVA is all that is commenting so far anyway, but I can see the little I says 5. So we're going to be here for the next hour. If you would like to join us, please let me know, and I can quickly give you an invite, and you can come on. And all I really ask is that you talk about a show that you've been to, have a couple albums to show from the show, and away we go. So without further ado, I will get started. So Tuesday, I went up to Saskatoon, which is about 150 miles away, 250 kilometers away, drove back. And then Wednesday, I did it again after delivering all the flowers, because I went to see City and Color. And I'll talk about who opened for them in a bit as well. But I talked about last week, hi, Catherine. Last week, I talked about the very first show that I saw, and this is now the most recent show that I saw, and it's City and Color. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with them at all, Harry, or no?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, Canadian band. Dallas Green it's kind of his baby. Alexis on Fire, I'm not sure if you've heard of them or not. Kind of a metal band. I'm not sure if you would necessarily describe them as that, but that's where he started. He had a couple of bands before that, but then he had Alexis on Fire, and he had this City in Color, which was kind of his Jekyll and his Hyde. He had a little bit of metal going on, and then these guys. I don't know who to compare them to. I'm trying to think of who to compare them to, and maybe it will come to me. It's certainly more singer-songwritery, but with the full accompaniment of a band. It's not just him. He is definitely the driving force. But anyway, so he started City in Color, and then Alexis on Fire, his other band, is kind of on the side burner for now, although I think they have a new album coming out. And then he's been focusing on this band for a while, and it's really him. And then he's probably had a couple musicians that have been with him for the duration, but then he picks up some other great, and he's Canadian, so he picks up some other Canadians along the way when he goes out on tour. So yeah, so that was the one that I saw, and it was really good. It was a nice surprise from my son. A couple of weeks ago, he said, "Hey, do you want to go to City in Color?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." I wasn't necessarily planning on it. I don't listen to a lot of theirs. I have 3 of their albums. I have this one, which was not the first one, but the oldest of that I have, and it's called Little Hell, and it's very good. I'm going to say it's very good. If I have an album, it's usually very good, right? It's kind of one of the dumbest
Otherwise,
things.
why have it, right?
Yeah. Well, I've got a couple that I don't know why I have them, but I have them.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then this is a couple of years later, The Hurry and the Harm. And I'd say some songs from these, but they get some radio play, but they don't get a heck of a lot. And I'm not sure how much they get in the United States. But then the third and the most recent, the one that I actually just picked up at the show the other day, and not that it matters, but it's a cool blue and white, only available on tour, limited to 2,000 copies, et cetera, but it's The Love Still Held Me Near. So that is my discography anyway of City in Color. But I'll let you go, and then we'll talk a little bit more about my show, and we'll talk a little bit about your show. So I'll shut up for a while.
Well, I don't know. Probably the one I have the most information on is going to be Bruce Springsteen. I've probably seen, I'm guessing, around 35 shows, which is not a lot. Well, among the people that I hang with.
Yeah.
I know people that have seen Bruce hundreds of times, they're like the Deadheads.
Yes.
But I don't know. It's to me, it was the best live show I ever saw. First show was '84 in the Tacoma Dome. And I was on a ferry going from Seattle to Vancouver, BC. No, actually Victoria.
Right.
And someone had left a People magazine on the boat. And on the cover, it had a picture of Bruce, and it said, "Is this the best live show in rock?" or something to that effect. So I read the story. I didn't really know a lot about him. I didn't really listen to him. I read the article, and I was intrigued. And when I got back home from our weekend in Victoria, I saw that Bruce was coming to Tacoma, so I bought tickets. I just saw, I'm going to check this guy out.
Sure.
And it just absolutely blew me away. I mean, the intensity, the nonstop rock and roll, and it's almost like going to a revival show. It was unbelievable. And it just made me a hardcore fan.
Yeah, I've heard, unfortunately, I am of the few that have never seen him. I was supposed to last year. Well, I guess last year, 2022, he was supposed to, no, it was last year, pardon me. Anyway, he was supposed to tour Canada. I had tickets for a couple of shows.
Yeah, last November, I think.
Exactly. That's right. Yes. Yeah. And then, of course, he had the ulcer issues, which thankfully sounds like they've cleared. And the new dates are set. So I'm going to eventually see him. Hopefully all things go well. November of this year.
Still a good show. It'll be a year ago tomorrow that I saw the last tour. It's still a good show.
So let's compare a little bit from the first to now. Obviously, Bruce is how many years older from 1984 to 2024? We'll give it, right. So, and
Yeah.
he wasn't a spring chick. He wasn't old by any means in 84, but he was I don't know how old he would have been at
He
that
was
point.
probably around 35, I guess.
Yeah. So, kind of peak of his
Yeah.
maybe not. I mean, his shows have always been classic. Like, that's the thing. They've always been legendary, I would call them, or at least in my mind, from what I've always known. It's just, as you mentioned, it's just one of the best shows. It's long. It's all the songs you want to hear. It's sometimes the songs you didn't think you were going to hear. I think he still
Yeah.
does that a little bit, right?
He always mixes up the set list because he knows that a lot of people see multiple shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why, because I haven't seen him before, that I got tickets to the two closest, and I might add a third now. It didn't work last year, but it might work this year now. So I might go to Calgary too, just because, again, he's probably the artist that I've been listening to the longest that I haven't seen yet, because
Okay.
I've been listening to him from the start. And we're big. We're not a big province. We're not huge by any means, and we get some decent shows. But up until retirement last year, I didn't get a chance to often travel for a lot of shows. And this was the first time, and he still isn't playing Saskatchewan. He's playing the two provinces beside us. I just didn't get a chance to see him. So I'm going to take every opportunity I can now, because unfortunately, how many more tours? There'll probably be a lot of individual shows. This has got to be, you'd think it'd be the last tour, but maybe not, right?
You never know anymore. I could see him doing solo tours because he's done a couple of those in the past. So I could see him doing those and being successful at it.
Yeah, a friend of mine, I'll call him a friend, an acquaintance, and maybe you did too. I don't know. Did you see the Broadway show? Did you get a chance to see him on Broadway?
Yeah, my wife and I flew out to New York. I'm originally from New York State. So we flew out, saw the Broadway show, and then I went upstate, saw my brother, and then we came back. That was great because it's a theater that only holds, I think, 900 people. So it was, and very intimate, and just him and the piano and the guitar.
Yeah.
Because it was probably, you saw it on Netflix, I think.
I did.
If anybody saw it, yeah.
Yeah. And I assume I don't know if it changed, like if there were different songs, different stories, or he kept it the same.
There's a couple of songs he would switch in and out now and then, but it was pretty much the same set list.
Yeah. So now you've seen Bruce with Clarence, and you've seen him with Clarence's son. Now it's different, but the kid's good though, right? Nephew. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was son. So nephew. So who's very good, I'm sure. But I would consider myself lucky to have seen Clarence as part of that group as well, right?
Yeah, it was special to see the whole band, the original lineup. It was always a good show, and Clarence was the big man.
Yeah, exactly.
Catherine, he's already sold his music. I think he got 500 million for it.
Yeah, he got quite a bit. I heard there was someone else today too that just sold theirs to Irving Azoff. I'm not sure if Bruce sold his to Azoff or not. Oh, it was Rod Stewart, I think, sold his catalog to Irving. And I guess it makes sense. Is like they're gonna cash out now to a certain extent.
And it makes it easier if you're leaving an estate.
Yeah,
it's just so much easier to deal with cash than having to deal with all this music and all the publishing and the rights and this and that. It's so much easier. I understand why they're doing it.
I agree. Yeah. And you can't argue that, well, I wrote a little bit of that cash. Cash is cash, right? Because there's gonna, when it comes to all of these catalogs, there's gonna be bullshit go on, I'm sure. I would imagine it. So yeah.
In 1999, Bruce played, I think, 15 shows at Continental Airline Arena, and my wife and I went out and saw 4 of that run. And little Steven, his personal assistant, was an acquaintance of mine, and she got a hold of me and she said, "You're going to this show on this date, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Would you like to sit in little Steven's row?" And we said, "Yeah, sure." So she said, "Well, we'll leave tickets for you at will call." She said, "You have to buy them; they're not free, but you get to sit in his row with his people."
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, great." Well, we didn't know it because I'd never seen the show at this time, 1999, but we sat with all the Sopranos cast,
Oh, really? Oh, geez. That's
but,
pretty
we
good.
had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That'll
yeah, that
work.
was kind of cool.
Yeah. You still have to buy the
I've got
ticket.
so many good stories on Bruce. I could go all night.
Well, please do. That's the thing,
I,
because although I haven't seen him and I don't want to know everything, but he's been around for so long. And again, I'm somewhat familiar with the shows. Again, I know that at least I believe anyway. There's a part where, and I think Garth Brooks. Well, there's probably more than the couple of them that do it. Like he will do specifics based off the posters in the show for that night, right? Like he mixes
yeah,
those
people
in.
hold up signs and he'll pick them. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And for a while there, when he went to a different country or even just different cities, he would open the show with a song. Like when he was in Australia, he opened with "Highway to Hell."
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that kind of stuff. He would make it a connection locally wherever he was playing. So that made it fun too.
Maybe he'll do it. Maybe he'll do some Gordon Lightfoot or something
You
up here.
never
Who
know.
knows? Yeah, he could do that. He can. That would work. That would be all right.
I did Sundown at open mic that right after Gordon died.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
that now that song's got a story to it. You probably know that one.
a little bit, but again,
Yeah.
feel free, because that's why I wanted to have you on, because I know from the few times that we've been on some other things, uh, there's always great stories. There was stories of strippers, was there not? And that's a different show, or was that a Springsteen show, or maybe that wasn't you? I could be wrong. So,
Wasn't me. Hey Vance, how
wasn't
you
you?
doing?
Okay. I don't know who it was then. I thought someone met strippers at a show and I can't remember. So anyway, but yeah, I
So
just yeah.
for the first show that I went to see Bruce at, he did 2 nights and I bought a ticket for the second night. And he got sick and they had to cancel the second night, but they only canceled it for 1 day. They said, we'll postpone it from like
Tomorrow.
Wednesday to Thursday or whatever.
Right.
So I got a get well card for him. I said, sorry that you're sick. This is going to be my first show. I said, I'm really looking forward to hearing you play. And I said, would you do Santa Claus is Coming to Town
Yeah.
and Detroit medley? Because he always did, he used to, in the early days, he always did a killer Detroit medley. And then I put a CD of Born to Run, because CDs were brand new in 1984. I
Yep.
put a CD of Born to Run in the envelope, and I took it to the Tacoma Dome, and I asked the ticket lady there. I said, "Would you give this to Bruce?" And she said, "Well, I can't guarantee that he'll get it, but I'll try."
Sure.
So next night we go to the show, and here come the encores, and Bruce says, he said, "It's a little early because it's October." He said, "It's a little early for this, but I got a request." So he did Santa Claus.
Right on.
And
That's
then
good.
he did the Detroit medley, which I thought was cool. And then a month later, he sent the CD back to me signed, which
Oh, nice.
that's it. That was it. I was a hardcore fan. I was hooked. That was it.
Yeah,
He
for
made a
sure.
fan.
Yeah. Oh, and I know, and I've seen a lot of your autographs as well. So that's cool.
Yeah,
Hello, Zeb.
there's I don't know if you can see it, but like all this stuff up in here, Bruce stuff that's like signed, and
Yeah.
met him a few times, got pictures with him, and he's
Yeah.
always good to his fans.
So it's still and it's still Patty's still playing with them, right? And little
Not as much
Steven.
as she used to, and that's
No,
not a
she
bad thing.
yeah,
I was
that's
never a
okay.
fan of Patty.
Yeah. Did
See,
he
when little Steven left the band, he left just before Born in USA, which to this day, Steven says it was the biggest mistake he ever made of his
yeah,
life.
yeah.
But when Steven left the band, he hired Nils Lofgren to replace him on guitar.
Mhm.
And then he hired Patty to replace Steven's vocals. So he really hired 2 people to replace little Steven.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and then still not able to. But I think but it's Max still, right? Like I'm not sure what
Max
the
is still
current
playing with
yeah,
him.
I'm not sure the
Yeah.
current lineup.
Yeah, it's pretty much everybody except for Clarence and Gary. I think Gary Talent.
Right. Yeah. So that's great. Again, hopefully everything goes well. Not just for my sake. Selfishly, I want to make sure that Bruce is okay, but I want Bruce to be okay as well because, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just again, he's the it just. I started to explain this earlier. We get shows and we get some big shows, but we don't get a bunch. And I never used to travel a whole bunch, and now I'm not going to wait anymore. I'm just going to go and see the shows that I want to go see wherever they may be. So I started to do that a little bit last year, and yeah, so it's been nice.
Vance, you should get up here. This guy sees more live shows than anybody I've ever met.
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
sees a lot of well-known bands. Yeah, Vance, Zep Pearl.
yes, and everybody's welcome, and I can send you a link. Although it's really, I think maybe just the four of us right now, anyway. But I'm trying to promote the show. I'm trying to get it to go. Again, I didn't realize. Well, when I started, Glenn, and again, not. I think I was telling you, and I'm not sure who else was here. Glenn was not doing a show at that point. He's doing a show on Tuesday nights, and I'm not sure if he's still on, him and Sam, or not. Again, not that it would be, yeah, they're still on. So not that it's direct competition, but it probably doesn't help. So maybe I'll have to switch something up and change something up. But anyway, let's continue. So City and Color, again, I can't share a whole bunch with you other than the musicianship was fantastic. I'm not super familiar. I've got a couple albums. I will listen and enjoy them, and I appreciate them, and they're very good musicians, and the show was fantastic, and it was a good length. You always want an hour and a half, at least 90 minutes or so, and they were that, at least closer to a couple hours. And they're not a big bombastic lights and pyro and everything else show, but the lighting and the mood that was set with the lighting was really, really good. So I think that there's still the bands where, again, it's not about the pyro and everything, but these bands can take their lighting, and these lighting guys these days do such a fantastic job of the ambiance and just making the songs come a little bit more alive with the lights. And for me, that's always been a big part of it. The music is number one, obviously, but I really do like the production, and it was really good the other night. So
Good.
yeah.
Catherine says she'll come up and do a show and tell.
Well, let me where can I can invite here. Bear with me, rookie. I gotta find invite here.
In the meantime, Vance, if you're still out there, did you get your package today?
You sent a little VC. What is it? VC. What is it?
VCLT.
LT. So
yeah.
There's the link for anybody that would like to come on and join. So City and Color, they were great. Again, production was good, sound was good. It was just in the arena up in Saskatoon, and I went with my son, which was nice because we get to do a bunch of stuff, but not a lot of concerts as of late. So, but it was great. The opener, as much as I enjoyed City and Color, the opener was these guys, and that is Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. And I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I've heard a lot about them.
Oh,
they
man.
They kind of rock, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
But full horn section as well.
Yeah.
There was country in there a little bit. There was a little bit of everything. And they're on like the rock station here. And then they're on a little bit of everything. Just so good. The horns were fantastic. There was a guy on keyboard. Well, there was a guy that played every instrument, I think, other than the horns. He was on bass, and then he played the keyboards. And of course, he had the old Roland going, and he had a bunch of different stuff. And it was just fantastic. And then Nathaniel himself, very energetic, very, very good.
Is he kind of like a Peter Wolf kind of a singer?
I'd like to be able to say, I'd like to give you a comparison. Almost Brother, Where Art Thou? Almost that, but heavier and louder and a little bit more. It's and that's just there's a couple of songs, but again, some bluesy stuff, some bluegrass, but again, heavier and with the horns and that in there. Let's add Catherine into the mix here. There we go. Hello and welcome, Catherine.
Hi.
Hello.
Guys hear me okay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, looks great. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right.
You go ahead. I'll talk more about these guys after. Welcome.
I've got an echo because I don't have a microphone. But, okay.
That's okay. It's working. We can hear you.
I've been to a lot of concerts, probably about 30 in my life. And I just saw one that I went to last year. So here's the shirt.
It's just coming in. It's coming into focus slowly, but it's getting there.
Okay.
Oh, Duran Duran. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, and this is all their cities that they went to. You can see that. So they did that last year. And I subscribe to them on YouTube. And what's really cool is they do travel vlogs for every city they're in. They show you what they're doing.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, that would be cool to be able to kind of follow along and see what they're doing in the cities. Now it's still Simon Le Bon. Who's all in, and I guess who's not anymore? Both Taylor brothers, or no?
They have an interesting history because well, they're all back together again. Andy Taylor has cancer. He still records with them, but he doesn't tour because of his health. So
Right.
they have a guy, I'm trying to think of his name. His name is Tim Brown.
Okay. Yeah.
Where did you see them?
Yeah.
Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle.
Oh, okay. So I'm in Puyallup.
Yeah, I'm up north. Yeah,
Okay. I didn't realize. That's right. I forgot you were in Seattle. Did you go to see Madonna by chance?
Well, I like her music, but I don't really care for her as a person.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if Madonna came somewhere, if I would go or not, because I think it would be, again, I talked about production, and I think it would be a show for sure. I'm not a large fan of the music. I don't hate it, but I think I would go just because she's maybe of that level. There's a few artists where I'm maybe not a huge fan, but I might go just because they are who they are. I don't know. I guess it would be a game day decision, maybe too. So
Yeah, I wouldn't go. Wouldn't interest me.
yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe
even when she was like all over MTV and all that stuff, it just never did anything for me. So
yeah.
It's
And
just
I'm not saying
weird.
she's
You
not
never know
good.
what she's gonna say or do.
What's that, Catherine? Sorry, one more time.
You just never know what she's going to say or do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. So you said you had a couple of things, or was it just that?
Well, these are familiar to most people. So here's Rio.
Right. Yep.
And I'm taking him out of the line so it doesn't glare.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fine.
And 7 in the Ragged Tiger.
You had done a video on them a little while ago. What else have you got coming up in the next bit? I know you've had a couple. You went and saw One Love, which I watched the video on that. But what else have you got coming up on your channel?
Oh, in the future, I'm going to do, like, next week is Phil Collins, his solo career, and after that, Genesis.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, that's awesome.
Hello,
Wonderful.
John.
Hello, John. All right.
We're talking about live shows that we've been to.
Yeah.
And I just went and saw the Bob Marley movie.
Right. And you said, and I mean, I watched your video, so you were overall fairly pleased with it. You thought the gentleman that played Bob was good. I know Ziggy. You had showed that little clip where Ziggy's talking about at the beginning where he was happy with the way that it turned out, obviously, or they probably wouldn't have put it out. But
Can you take your little border thing here off?
oh yeah, yes, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I just think that some people miss
There you
the
go.
point of it.
I'll probably wait and see. It'll be on TV streaming at some point.
yeah. Sorry, Harry, I'm a rookie, right? I gotta, I'm trying to run this.
Hey,
I'm trying to run this thing. So, hey, Curtis, how are you? So, all right, Catherine, do you want to stay on, or y'all done, or?
Does somebody else want to come on? I can let somebody else come on.
No, you can stay. That's cool. That's fine. No
I'll
problem.
use with a small group.
Yeah, there's not a lot of us, so what the heck? But again, though, these guys, I would almost give you a money back guarantee that you would enjoy these guys. I mean, I guess you would have to like the music, but it's very good music. It's very somewhat, I say wide ranging. It's not huge, but it's got a bit of range to it. That's the second album, and then this is the first one. There was a song called "Son of a Bitch." The video was them in jail, if you remember seeing that or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why the title of the album, but or why the title of the song, but it's good stuff. I would certainly seek them out, and I think if you get a chance to see them, I know they're on tour with City and Color all the way across Canada, so that'll take them a little bit longer, but they seem like a band that would be out there a lot. So if you get a chance, everybody, I would definitely highly recommend. So now John is going to go see Billy Joel, which is pretty cool. Because that's another artist that is on my list. There's not a lot on my list anymore that I really, really want to see. There's a bunch on my list that I want to see. I'm sorry, one more time.
I'm seeing Billy Joel in May.
Nice.
I've seen Billy by himself. I've seen Elton John by himself, and then I saw them tour together, which
you saw good. the dueling pianos one. That one, that would have been pretty outstanding. And was it
all three of the shows were good?
Was there a time frame, or did they play each other's stuff with each other, or was it here's a Billy song and here's an Elton song?
Tell you the truth, I don't recall a lot of it.
Yeah.
I just remember they were like backed up, and then they would both go at it. It's just, I don't remember a lot. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw so many, like I saw Queen, all that jazz.
Yeah.
I don't remember I couldn't tell you what they played in it, if anybody opened. I saw Cheap Trick back then, and when the Budokan got really big, I don't remember any of that shit. I can't remember who played what.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to remember I was there.
Yeah, I didn't do last week's show not on purpose because I remember them all. Certain parts I remember more than other parts, but yeah. And there was another young lady, Ruby Waters, Canadian singer-songwriter. And again, fantastic band. Probably Dallas Green just kind of took her under his wing and has brought her along on the tour. And again, that's another performer that if you were to see, and now she would probably be more club level at this point. I think Rateliff and company could probably do a headlining tour of a certain level. They might not do a bunch of stadiums yet, but they could certainly do like the 2,000 to 3,000 seat arenas and things like that. And I think that they could draw. I think the more they're out there and the more people see them live will go, that's someone that you've got to go see live. There's certain bands where that is really the case, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've
John
seen
said he's going to see Billy Joel with Sting. That'll be a good double bill.
Yeah, that'll be a great bill for sure.
Yeah.
So, and John, I think, has seen Billy in New York. Am I correct in that statement, John? I believe. I think he's seen him because that's there's certain bands you want to see in certain places. And I know we've talked
he was doing a once a month thing at Madison Square Garden for number of years, I think.
Yeah, that was kind of a it was a
Yeah.
residency, right? At Madison Square Garden. That's pretty good residency. But yeah, I think that's where you want to see Billy Joel. You know, I don't know.
Billy's only doing 10 shows
Yeah.
this tour.
And I think the 100th one. Hello, sir. How are you? You're never late. You just got here when you got here. I think the 100th show, correct me if I'm wrong, and John, you may know, is going to be televised actually. Whether it will be live or not, I'm not sure, but I think CBS actually
What 100th?
Billy's 100th time or 100th residency show or whatever. There's a show.
Oh, at Madison Square Garden?
Square Gardens. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And John is seeing him twice in St. Pete. So yeah, don't get me wrong, John. I'd go and see him anywhere, but I guess if I had my preference, I'd probably just go I'd go to Madison Square Gardens because it's just like another arena, but I guess it's not, right? So
I'd like to see him do an entire album. And I know people say Piano Man, but I'd like to see him do Innocent Man.
yeah,
Love that album.
that would be good. Or Glass Houses in its entirety, but I don't think that's anything he's ever done. I not that I remember hearing anyway. Lots of bands are. I'm going to go see Green Day in August, and they're doing American Idiot and Dookie, both actually, because it's the 10th anniversary and the 20th anniversary of those two albums. So they're doing both of those in their entirety, and then they're also doing other songs too. So that should be pretty good. So should be good.
The next show you have lined up then is what, Catherine?
What was that, Harry?
What's the next show then you're going to go see?
Billy Joel.
Okay.
Curtis asked where I'm going to see Green Day. I'm
Leslie Fine and Sarah McLachlan.
Right.
It's in the same weekend. It's going to be a busy weekend.
Yeah, I knew
saw Sarah McLachlan years ago, back Lilith Fair era. She was good. I really liked her. Yeah.
I have a bone to pick with Sarah McLachlan. the Canadian who lives in Vancouver, I think a little bit still, or maybe around. Anyway, she's only playing two places. She's playing Toronto and she's playing Laval. Now, that's not the only time. She did do a little more of a substantial tour across Canada a few years ago, but we get that. And I don't know why we get that, where certain acts only play Toronto, sometimes Vancouver, sometimes Montreal. I mean, there's lots of others. As I mentioned, Springsteen playing everywhere, but I guess it's tough.
Logistics and expenses, you know, how much does it cost to do a show here as opposed to there?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
it's just I really wanted to see Joan Jett again, and it's her and Alanis. But again, the same thing. She's only playing Toronto, so. But whatever, it is what it is. I guess I could go and travel somewhere to go and see him too. But I don't know if I answered Curtis. I'm going to, I did. Minneapolis is where we're going. So it's Green Day, and then it's the Smashing Pumpkins, it's Rancid, and then a band called the Linda Lindas are opening. So should be pretty decent. It's at the baseball stadium there, which will be kind of neat. I haven't been to a baseball stadium for a concert before. I've been to football stadiums, but not a baseball stadium. So it'll be good.
I saw the Monkees play at after a Giants game in San Francisco once.
Yeah,
they just kind of rolled everything out on a big truck and they played on the back of this.
Kind of like halftime at the Super Bowl, just brought things out.
Sort of, yeah. That was a semi-stage, but it was just towed out with the truck.
That would have been all right. That would have been good. And that was how long ago was that one?
That would have been probably 96 or 95, maybe. Yeah.
And it was all the four guys still?
No, it was without Mike.
Yeah, but Mickey and that's all right though. That's
Peter
okay.
and Davey,
yeah, that's good. All right, what else? I had a couple others that I was going to talk about that I've seen as well. I'm still interested in Springsteen though. I don't know what else I want to ask you, because what about you guys? I don't know. When I'm going to a show, I do not want to look at set lists. I don't want to know. I'd like to be surprised. And it's kind of a double-edged sword, because if I look and it's kind of the same, I can know what not to expect, because there's always going to be songs. With Bruce Springsteen, I'm never going to hear every song. Even if he does 3 hours, I'm still never going to hear every song, right? But so I tend not to look at set lists when I'm going to a show. I don't know what happens with what you guys do.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
No, I don't want to know either. I try and pass that wisdom on to my kids. I said, don't,
especially if it's a band that you know they don't change the set list.
Yes, yeah.
You know, I don't even want to hear the reviews or anything until I see the show.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. Now, with that said, I could look at a set list, I think, for Bruce, and it could be not completely different. There's going to be the core ones that are the same, but it's going to be, there's got to be some different stuff in there for sure. So I saw the Rolling Stones back in 2006. They played Regina, and they played on Friday and Sunday. And, you know, if they played 22 songs, I think 17 or so were the same both nights. But, you know, Painted Black was on Friday and not on Sunday. And so Angie was not on Friday, but was on Sunday. So it was one of those, even if it would have been the same, it would have been okay. But it was nice. There was a little bit of diversity.
I think that was a tour where the fans could vote. They had for different cities, there was a list of songs, and the fans could vote which song do you want to hear. And for us in Seattle, I went to that, and it was they did Memory Motel.
Yeah, nice. There was a band, I can't remember who it was, but there was a band that actually had a big wheel, and so they knew them all on the wheel, and they would spin them, and that'd be kind of cool, I think. You know, I mean, for the band, it'd be kind of tough. Well, not really. You'd have to make sure you knew at least everything on the wheel. You don't have to know all the catalog, but you got to know the wheel for sure. So, but
wow.
Yeah. So, what else have we got? What's your next one? Have you got something coming up?
Me, do you know who Dada is?
I do, I think, yeah.
I'm gonna go see Dada. It's a triple door.
Yeah, that'll be nice. And that's in Seattle, or
June 1st in Seattle.
Good. That's good. I've got a couple things coming up. As I mentioned, the Green Day, Everclear too. Do you remember the band Everclear? Kind of a punky California group or whatever. Never saw them back in the day, but going to get a chance to finally see them. They're playing Casinos here. It's weird. Sorry, I dropped something. You know, you look at the time, they weren't quite Green Day's level, but for an album or so anyway, they were, you know, on par with them. And now they're playing the 1,000 seat casinos, and Green Day's playing the 60,000 seat baseball stadiums. So I don't know. I guess
there's a lot of good
Idiot helped.
There's a lot of good shows that come through the casinos here.
Yeah,
but the tickets aren't cheap. You know, they can be $75 to go to a casino show.
Yeah, and at least the one here does a really good job of the sound as well. They did a nice job. They made it sound acoustically well in there, which is nice too. There, you know, you can see arenas. There's arenas of a certain age where it sounds like crap, and then as arenas have matured, I think they've gotten better. But usually with the casinos or the smaller venues, at least, you know, you're gonna get a nice sound for sure.
Yeah.
Harry, do you ever go to the Paramount Theater?
Now and then, yeah.
When someone
I'm more likely to go to the Moore Theater just because it's a smaller show. But why do you ask about the Paramount?
Well, because the tickets aren't that expensive. The tickets are affordable.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, the tickets are. Yeah, I see a show for about $65 there.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this day and age, I think 65 is not bad. You know, as long as they don't come out and do a 45-minute set or whatever. And sometimes with the casinos, That's the only problem. That's the only thing, is that the casinos want you back out on the floor. So they don't want them doing 2-hour sets. They want to get you in and then get about an hour or so in, and then get everybody back out on the casino floor.
Yeah, even the tribute bands, yeah, they are
The
expensive.
Paramount is locally owned, and they have volunteers working there. That keeps the cost down.
Okay.
Yeah, that
I've
helps.
seen a lot of good shows at the Paramount over the years, but
That's good.
not long. I saw the Police there. I think it was they used to do something called Rising Stars concerts.
I saw Crowded House there last year.
Who?
Crowded House from New Zealand.
I couldn't understand it because you're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, breaking up a little bit.
I'll
But
get closer here.
Catherine, do you know?
Crowded House?
Do you know Charles? You know Charles Cross?
I think Catherine's got a little too much delay going on sometimes.
Yeah,
maybe,
can't.
right?
Yeah, I've got some issues going on here. It's right here.
Well, you look for that. I'm going to just comment. Trevor's talking about Metallica, and yeah, so they've got their 2 shows.
Oh yeah.
2 nights, and then they've got 2 openers with them on the first night. 2 separate openers. I think. Well, at least in Edmonton, there's Mammoth Van Halen is one night, and then I think Pantera maybe the other night, and then a couple other bands as well. So it's pretty good. And Metallica's got enough that they can mix it up, and they can get out and maybe do 2 shows a month. They're in the same place, and they're doing it right. They're not charging you a crazy amount for a 2-show night, but so yeah.
Well, my friend bought tickets for that I think it was at one of the football or baseball stadium. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But he said he thought the tickets were expensive. And then when he got them, he realized it was for 2 nights. He didn't know it was for 2 nights.
Yeah.
So when you
that's
look
good.
at it that way, it was a pretty cheap ticket.
Then
Really.
it's okay. Yeah, exactly. Catherine, did you find what you were looking for?
I pulled it off the stuff.
It was a Crowded House.
Yes,
Okay.
just a Crowded House. That's who I saw at the Paramount.
Oh, okay. I never had a chance to see Crowded House, but I did see Split Ends back in the day, 1988, 87, something like that. Right after, I think, True Colors. I can't remember for sure, but in Calgary at their Center of the Arts at the nice sit down, don't jump around in your seat venue in Calgary. So it was good. It was very good, actually. I was a huge fan. Well, still am, and enjoy Crowded House as well. But yeah, Split Ends was really good, and it was Walter's Wall and the Rage. Pretty much one-hit wonder there. And I can't even tell you what the hit was, but that's who opened for him. So
one of my favorite live bands is from your neck of the woods, and that's Moxie Fruvis.
Yep. I've never seen them. I'm totally familiar with who you're talking about, but that would be probably a very energetic and fun show, I would imagine.
Yeah. Right? It was like watching the Monkees.
Later, I've got a Zoom meeting tonight.
All right. Thanks very much, Catherine. See you later. Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for joining in.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah, that like I said, I think that would be a fantastically fun show. So
I saw him in Seattle on like a Friday night, and I liked it so much that we drove down to Portland 3 hours to go see him again the next night.
Yeah. I haven't done that yet. I've seen the same band when given the opportunity back to back. But I haven't ever gone, that was so good, I'm just going to go to the next one.
Yeah.
But I have the opportunity to do that now. That's what retirement brings. It brings the opportunity to do silly things like that. So, right. And
what do you wake up and you in the middle of the afternoon and you ask yourself, what day is this?
That's good though, because you know what though, there's lots of shows. Hello, David.
Hello, David.
There's lots of shows where I've walked out of And I know I've specifically said I'd go see them again tomorrow. And I don't care if the set's the same. It's just good. You know, we could listen to the same album over and over. So to go and see a band back-to-back nights or or a break in between, even if it's the same set, it doesn't matter. I think if they're good, there's going to be something that's different. There's going to be a different takeaway each time you see them, I would imagine, especially from tour to tour, but even from night to night. It's got to be, even if they do the same songs, it's got to be a little different.
Yeah.
So I
followed a band by the guy's name is Dan Byrne, Bern. And I followed his West Coast tour all the way up from San Diego to Vancouver and Victoria.
Yeah.
Saw every show, did an audience recording, I did a video recording, and I did a soundboard recording on each of the shows. Because he didn't care. He said, "Yeah, go ahead."
Yeah, he didn't care. Whatever, that's fine. That's good.
He's very similar to a Dylan or a Springsteen kind of acoustic kind of guy.
Well, that's good. Nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. So, so what have you got coming up on your channel in the next little while? Anything specific?
I'm going to be doing an auction with AGK next Saturday. I haven't done an auction in a long time, but I got a lot of good records, so it's time to do that.
And you had some buddies over, I think, the other day or whenever you guys recorded that, right? Was that in your place or was that somewhere else? I thought
which one?
I can't remember. A most recent one that you guys did.
Was it Steely Dan?
Yes, in fact, it was Steely Dan. Yeah,
that was at an open mic at a local bar that we do every Sunday night.
Right on. That's
good.
Fun
because you just go in and whoever's there, you say, "Hey, do you want to play bass with me tonight? You want to play?" And they go, "Well, what are you going to play?"
And then figure out a song to play, right? So
yeah. It's always fun. Sometimes it's a train wreck, but it's always fun.
But then it's still fun for the crowd if it's a train wreck to a certain extent, anyway, right?
Yeah, because everybody knows everybody, so it's one big community there, really.
Yeah,
it's kind of like here on the VC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's sure been fantastic. I've been around.
I'd love to see you there Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of you guys up in that Northwest United States around here, isn't there? So there's a bunch of us in Canada too. We're just really separated by a lot of territory. Like Rob does not live anywhere close to me. So, if you think all of us Canadians, I think there's myself, actually David, who's with us tonight is a fellow Saskatchewanian, but I don't know how many other people on camera, for lack of the proper term, are from Saskatchewan, but there's a few anyway. So, but it's
well represented.
Yeah, we're doing okay. Rachel is a Canadian, right? So, and you're on with her quite a fair bit. I think
Bobby Gass.
Yep. Yeah. Actually, yeah.
There's a bunch. Yeah, and there's a lot here in the Northwest too. I was surprised.
Yeah, that's good though. That's good. Nothing wrong with that. So, you'd go see Springsteen again, I would imagine, if given the opportunity.
At my age now?
Yeah. At your age.
If it was here in town, because originally we were going to go up to see him in Vancouver last November.
Right.
And then that got canceled.
Yeah.
But after it got canceled, my wife and I both said, I don't know if I go again.
Yeah.
Because we've seen him. I mean, we met each other because of Bruce. That was our connection. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
So we saw a lot of shows together, but
yeah, right on. Yeah, I drag Joanne to as many as I can. There's some that she just isn't interested in. She didn't come to Metallica and AC/DC last year, and she didn't come to U2. She probably would have, but and she didn't come to the one last week. But we do go every once in a while, so it's nice. What about Pearl Jam? They're heading out on the road. Have you seen them? B, do you want to if you haven't already?
I've seen them a few times. I'm not that big a fan. I like the 10 album, and that's really the only one I listen to, on a regular basis. But otherwise, no, not that big a fan.
Yeah, the new song's pretty decent. It's definitely Pearl Jam. And here's the irony I was talking about before, how really if people play Canada, and not everybody,
Maybe
but a
closer.
bunch, will only go to a few places. So there was someone from Toronto was bitching because Pearl Jam's only play in Vancouver. But I found it a bit ironic that the person from Toronto, where almost everybody goes, is complaining because
He's
one
complaining.
time one band's not going to Toronto. So, but anyway.
Yeah. Well,
All
it's
right.
funny here in the Northwest because, everybody will drive to Seattle for a show
Sure.
and drive, 40 miles north, but people in Seattle don't want to drive to Tacoma to go to a show.
They won't go to
we
anything.
get shows at the Tacoma Dome, and
Yeah.
they don't want to go.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not driving all the way to Tacoma.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, pick a number between 1 and 10 for me, please.
3.
1, 2, 3. All right, David Pattison, 3 back in the comments. You are going to win Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats #1 album, the first one, the self-titled, and I will get that to you. So that is download card. Again, I know it's not physical media, but it is good to go still, because I just cracked the album open when I bought it last week at the show, which was very, very good. And again, guys, make sure you go and see Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats if you get a chance, and City and Color too. Again, don't get me wrong, they were fantastic. I was just a little more blown away by the other guys. The horn section got me. It was just so good. It was so very, very good. So, but anyway, so there you go, David. I know where to find you, so I will find you, and I will get you that information to get that download card. Harry, thank you so very much for coming on. I really appreciate it. You are welcome anytime. So I'm going to try and do this every Tuesday. Again, whoever is here and would like to join, please do. Just let me know. I'll put my email up. My email's on my webpage. You know where to find me. But yeah, I'd love to have some more folks on, and we'll just talk about concerts. That's what the Tuesday night show is about. I might switch up the time now that I've tried to make it consistent. I don't want to necessarily, again, compete with Glenn or step on his toes, because he's got his show going on now. Yeah. But so it might change. We'll see. I'm not positive. But again, thank you everybody for watching. Thanks, Harry, for being on. And we'll see you next Tuesday or sometime in the next little while. We'll do it all over again. Hey, I saw those guys. Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Good night.